For the meeting of the Village of Burr Ridge Board of Trustees. Today is Monday, May 22nd, 2023. I would like to ask Trustee Smith to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. Roll call, please.
Trustee Schiappa?
Here.
Trustee Paveza?
Here.
Trustee Snyder? Here. Trustee Mattal?
Here.
Trustee Smith?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Francis?
Here. Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda, presentations and public hearings. There are no presentations and public hearings tonight. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine by the board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda, discussed, opened for public comment, and voted upon during this meeting. 5A, minutes. Approval of regular board meeting of May 8th, 2023. Not yet. 5B, receive and file plan commission meeting, May 15th, 2023. 7A, approval of a resolution authorizing an extension of the water tower lease agreement for T-Mobile. 8C, considerations, approval to direct the Plan Commission to hold a public hearing to amend the zoning ordinance to reduce the number of unrelated persons permitted to occupy a residential structure. D, approval of the vendor list dated May 22nd, 2023 for fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $453,635.29 for all funds. E, approval of the vendor list dated May 22nd, 2023 for fiscal year 2024 in the amount of $160,603.58 for all funds, plus $216,907.22 for payroll period ending May 13th, 2023, for a grand total of $386,510.80. Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Any residents wish to comment on the motion? I believe, Mr. Walter, that one resident did want some commentary on 5A meeting minutes from the regular board meeting of May 8th, 2023. Could you comment on that, please?
Yes, trustee. We received an email from Patricia Davis of our community asking that 5A be removed from the consent agenda to make the following comment. Her comment is essentially that there is a line in the minutes that in her mind did not occur. Essentially, the line says that Mayor Grasso mentioned that Trustee Snyder gave advance notice that he'd be out of town. She notes that that did not happen. In basic essence, this is not a substantive issue. We noted that Trustee Snyder was absent at the meeting, which is accurate. Any other stuff is commentary. As long as it is noted that he is absent when he was in fact absent, the minutes are therefore accurate. I leave it then up to the board to determine if the minutes should be amended or not. And that should be done in a separate motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments on Mr. Walter's report on item 5A? Meeting should stand as written. Stand. So there's a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Schiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Abstain.
Trustee Mattal?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Paveza?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
5-0.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay, moving on. 8A, considerations. Consideration of a plan commission recommendation to approve and deny revised special uses Z02 2023 60 Shore Drive, Nadav Coda Motors. Ms. Farrell.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Zoning case Z02 2023 takes place at 60 Shore Drive, and it's for the specific tenant Coda Motors at that site. The tenant is requesting two special uses. One is a special use amendment of their existing special use for the automobile sales, and that's to expand that existing use. And then the second special use request is for outdoor overnight storage of vehicles ancillary to that special use request. At the May 1st public hearing, the Plan Commission approved the amendment unanimously to allow the expansion of the existing use to 10,100 square feet, and that's just for the interior only. For the outdoor storage of the vehicles, the Plan Commission unanimously recommended denial of that request. The Commission was concerned about adequate parking for the 2 other tenants at the site, and they were also concerned about theft or vandalism of those vehicles left outside. The Commissions did not feel that the interior expansion, however, would have any kind of negative impact on the area. I can take any questions. We have Chairman Trupak tonight, who is the Plan Commission representative, and we also have the petitioners present tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell. What were the votes on the two proposed?
They were both 8-0.
8-0. So 8-0 in favor of the expansion and 8-0 to deny the outdoor parking. Thank
That's
you.
correct.
Petitioner is present. Would you like to add any comments to Ms. Farrell's presentation? Please come up to the podium and state your name and for the record.
My name is Joseph Nadav, and I'm from Coda Motors. We've been with in Burr Ridge for about 4 years now, and doing business in Burr Ridge. We've requested the parking in the back. So I don't know if you're aware how the building is situated. We have in front of the store, we have parking spaces that we use during the day, and then at night, all the cars are moved in. In the back of the building, where it's highlighted, it's been a staging, not a staging area. We buy a lot of cars, and a lot of times when people are delivering these vehicles, instead of leaving them in front of the building, because the agreement with the village was not to leave anything in front of the building, we use the back area to put cars there, and sometimes we use it as a staging area for, like, if we need to do things, stuff missing on the vehicles, get them ready so we can sell them. And that area is not really visible to the street as much as the frontage area. And I appreciate the planning committee looking into this. We would like to see if we can get a remand on this to see if there's anything that we can do and work with the village so we can have usage of that space, because there are other businesses that are using their space, and there's a trucking company that parks their trucks outside, and we're trying to see what they've done. Maybe we can do the same. Maybe we can work with the village and see if we can have the same thing done and get an exception.
Thank you. Any questions of the petitioner? Any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, we'll bring it back to the board for discussion. Trustee Schiappa.
So they were approved for the special use to expand inside the interior, and what was denied is the overnight outdoor parking. I did drive by there earlier today, and I did see the cars outside. I think about close to 30 cars outside, and I do have a concern of theft, considering what's going on in the village. So those are my comments for now.
Thank you. Trustee Paveza, any comments or questions?
No, I pretty much agree with the Plan Commission.
Trustee Snyder.
In this particular case, I'm really not able to discuss anything because I work also for Coda Motors, so I'm going to have to abstain.
You recuse yourself from any discussions and vote? Thank you. Trustee Vitale.
Yes, so like Trustee Schiappa, my concern is the safety of your vehicles if they're parked outside, and who's liable for anything happening to them?
So most of these vehicles that we have in the back, they're getting prepped. So they're cars that might need some work. They're parked in a way where, unless you're driving and you mean to drive behind the building, you don't even see them. So when you're driving on frontage road, you look at the building, you're not going to see anything. They're hidden. And we kind of just use it because, again, a lot of times we have trucks delivering cars late at night. We don't want them to be in front of the building because that might cause theft, you know. We've done this for about maybe a couple of years now. where we just move the cars around, stage them there, and then we move them around. We haven't had any issues. We haven't had one. The cars that are like the luxury cars, the high lines, we don't leave them outside. So if you drive by, you're going to see that most of these cars are like trade-ins, inexpensive cars. Thieves don't want to steal those cars. Basically, they need a little bit of work. And again, as I said, it's a staging area, and then once it's done, we just move them, and then we get the next round. We're selling a lot of cars, so we had to add to our inventory. When we started with 20, 30 cars. Now we have about 140. So we have a location where we park the cars, because that location by itself can probably, we can only have maybe about 40, 50 cars in that area. So about 20, 25, 26 parking spots are used for that. The rest of these vehicles are parked in our other area. We have another place that we rented where we park the rest of the cars. It's necessary for our business, and I understand everybody's concern. So we're not here to fight with you guys. I'm trying to find a solution, because your help is going to help our business succeed. And a lot of times it's a bit of an inconvenience to have somebody come if they want to work on the car, have them drive 2 miles and come back. And so again, the use is specific, so we can have these cars up and running so we can sell them. Once they're up and running, we move them to the other location.
Okay.
But as we're selling cars, we have no choice. But I'm assuming selling cars is good for both of us. So,
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and again, we make a very conscious effort to make sure that these cars are not visible. As I said, unless you go make a right turn and go into that short drive, you hardly see these cars. Again, we respect what you guys have asked us to do, and that's what we've done. And I believe your name is Tony, right?
Correct.
So Tony, when you drove by us today,
Yes.
I don't know if I'd like to invite you all to see how our operation works. We have a location that fits about 40 cars. And if somebody comes in, they want to see the car in the back, we have to move 15 cars to get it out. And so we move those cars, and a lot of times it looks crowded because we had to do that. We are by appointment only. So nobody comes in and says, hey, I want to drive a car. We set up the appointment, we pull the cars, we put them outside for people to test drive them. Around 6 o'clock, because we close at 7, around 6 o'clock, we start moving all the cars in. So by the time we leave, I don't know if you've had a chance to drive one of these days, drive around 7:30, you're going to see that there are no cars.
Okay.
The only exception is if we bought cars and we're closed, the delivery truck will come and park them in front of the store. And then the next morning they're moved. But again, we have made sure that we don't leave any cars in front of the building unless they're delivered after 7 o'clock. And that's usually an exception. You might drive the next day around and you might not see any of them. The only cars that are parked are the ones behind, and again, because these cars need to be worked on. We don't have a mechanic shop, so again, that's why we have to use that area, because anybody that comes, they know that this area is for us to get the cars prepped and ready. They have a list, they work on it, the car is fixed, we move it or we sell it.
Any other questions, Trustee Mattel?
No, thank you.
Trustee Smith?
A couple of comments. So I look at the pink highlight area and I'm seeing private property. We have in the past approved outdoor parking with a lot of consideration from our planning commission. I have a feeling there's got to be a happy medium here. There has to be somewhere where we're still meeting the village concerns, and then we're also meeting your concerns as the owner. It's not in full public display there. It's an area that if the Plan Commission is able to have their input with you, meaning you might want to attend those meetings, I have to think that there's something that can be done that is similar to what the Plan Commission did with M&T Trucking, which we're here to, to support business. We're here to support the residents. And, if there's 27 cars there, does that really hurt the village? Does it hurt the residents? Or are we gonna just have open spots doing nothing on private property? So I'm more of a moderate. I think there's a way to maybe have, the Plan Commission and yourselves work to an equal understanding, if there's a way to do that.
That's why I'd like to have like a remand if we can, so we can see, maybe we can come to a happy medium and work out, the details and see how we can do that.
Correct.
But this is just a sign, I just want to tell everybody that this is a sign of our business being successful. It's not a sign of defying the village.
Right.
It's really, you should be happy for us as we're happy to be in Burr Ridge. So it's a good thing. And we'd like to find a solution for this.
Are your plans to be here long-term, or are you looking for a different facility? Because it almost sounds like you're starting to grow out of this facility.
Well, our plans are eventually, the guy that owns our building, we told him if he ever wants to sell it, we want to buy that building. So our plans are here to stay.
Okay.
We like being in Burr Ridge. Al lives in Burr Ridge. Might be moving to Burr Ridge, so
Good.
we love it here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did I hear you ask to have this remanded back to the Plan Commission?
Please, yes.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, so the petitioner we have a couple of choices here. We can agree with the Plan Commission. We can override the Plan Commission, which takes how many votes since it was 8-0?
You have the right to just remand it on a majority vote.
On a majority vote, but if we wanted to override the Plan Commission, since it was unanimous,
2/3.
2/3, and so we have 5 voting members, we would need 4.
Well, it's 2/3 of those holding office, so it's 2/3 of 7. That's 5.
5.
Let me do my
Okay.
math on my phone.
All right. So I'm willing to entertain a motion for one of those choices.
Well, I'll motion to remand this consideration back to the Plan Commission so that Mr. Nadov and Anwar can have a conversation, work with the Plan Commission to come up with a solution so that we're all happy.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Yes.
Discussion on the motion? Could I ask Mr. Trupek to approach the podium, please? Chairman of the Plan Commission? Thank you, Greg. So remanding this back to the Plan Commission, seeing as how the petitioner didn't attend the previous meetings, what might you expect to accomplish?
Greg Chupek, Chairman Plan Commission. I think the issue will be the same. One's going to be that being a multi-tenant building, is this going to affect the other tenants by not having some parking space available? The second will be security. It didn't seem like an easy way to put a fence around that. And so if that's an issue, I think Trustee Mattel's question about the liability was something to be concerned about, because if there's cars parked out there overnight and we okay it and there is some issues, is that going to be a problem? So we had a concern about security and how you could secure that area. So I think that'll still be an issue, but with not being there, we couldn't really address that, so perhaps now we can.
Okay, thank you. So there's a motion and a second to remand this back to Plan Commission, but I ask that you do not come before the Plan Commission and ask for the same thing you're asking for here, because they'll say no again, because nothing's changed. So you come up with a different plan for parking, or a way to secure and screen the cars, or some combination thereof. But come on up, if you're going to talk, you have to come up here. But if you're going to come back and you're asking for 22 parking spaces outside, and ask for the same thing, the answer is going to be the same.
So the concern is safety, security, is that the
Security,
biggest concern?
precedent setting, safety, security, precedent setting, and visibility from the street, from Shore Drive.
Okay.
And approval of the other businesses.
You said nothing about Corvette
Tenants.
Mike. And yeah, he stages a couple cars out there during the day, but everything's inside at night.
It's not true.
It's not, yeah. So I don't know what's,
Outside.
Other tenant in the building leaves cars outside,
Okay,
out in front.
out in
of the
front.
building,
Okay,
not in the back.
during the evening. Okay, thank you. Staff, will please take a note of that, address that? We weren't aware of that. Thank you.
yeah, so the cars, We will come up with a plan, maybe to make the village feel more secure about the cars being outside. Present it with maybe come up, with an idea of a fence or something like that.
Okay.
So maybe, and then we can have a gate, so it can be, yeah.
Whatever you guys come up with, conceive, develop, and present to the plan commission. They'll be willing to listen to it, but don't come back with the same thing.
Okay.
Okay?
So we can basically you're saying that we need to amend this somehow. If you present the same
You
thing.
need to come up with a different plan, because this plan was recommended for denial 8-0.
Okay.
And it would take 5 votes from this board to override it,
Okay.
which is a steep hill to climb. Okay?
All right. Okay. But just one question, if you
Yes.
don't mind. So, when you look at the M&T, like, what is the difference between M&T and Coda Motors? Why is M&T allowed to park trucks outside, and we're not? I mean, is there something that they've done that?
It's a variety of things. The location, it's the type of vehicles that they sell. They're all brand new.
Security.
Cars. I'm sorry?
Security.
Security. They have a
Fence.
perimeter fence.
Okay.
That's tip my tongue,
Okay.
what I come up with. There's other reasons that they're allowed to park outside, but
They have a consistent product.
yes, a consistent product. They all look the same, they're just
Yep.
different colors.
They're just different colors.
Okay.
And they're all brand new,
Yeah.
and they're shiny.
Brand new. Yep.
We can make our cars shine.
I'm sure you can. So,
All right.
so we have a motion and a second. Any more further discussion? Any further questions, sir? Call the roll, please. And this is to remand back this petition back to the Plan Commission.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Abstain.
Trustee Vital? Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Francis?
Yes.
5-0.
5-0, motion passes. Thank you. Moving on, consideration of a Plan Commission recommendation to deny a minor PUD amendment, PC 8004, 2023, 720-730 Village Center Drive, Hella. Janine?
Thank you. PC 04-2023 takes place at 720 to 730 Village Center Drive. It is the site of Pella Restaurant, which is currently under construction. The petitioner is requesting a minor change to their prior approval to allow for painting of the exterior facade and installing additional canopies or awnings, which were not shown on the renderings which were formally approved by the board. At the April 17th meeting, the Plan Commission unanimously denied the request. The commission was concerned about making exterior changes for one specific tenant and also the maintenance issues involved with painting brick. Since that meeting, the petitioner has changed plans. So I'm going to walk through a few of the changes that you see here tonight that Evan has pulled up that are different from what the Plan Commission saw back in April. So the off-white portion of the building, which is on the corner, that portion of the building is going to be painted. There is a small kind of single-story addition that is just to the side of this building, which is kind of just to the north of it. That
Excuse
is
me,
also.
Ms. Farrell, do you
Yes.
have a laser pointer?
I do. Right here, right? Oh, there we go. Okay, Evan has the mouse, yes.
Thank
So
you.
that single-story addition there, that is also being proposed to be painted.
Thank you.
There are awnings that are proposed to go over the main entrance and the front there. Thank you, Evan. And then there is also, if you can just scroll up a little bit more to, there we go. So the side of the facade that is along Lifetime Drive, which is the center picture that we're looking at here. So that off-white facade wraps around to the side. That is also being proposed to be painted off-white. The red brick then will remain. As we get to the addition, the brick inside of the addition is also being proposed to be painted. There will be one awning that is on Lifetime Drive at the main, at kind of a entrance near the addition there, Evan, a little bit further down, right there. So there is one extra awning that's being proposed over that entrance. that was not shown on the original renderings. The other canopies that wrap around that main facade on the corner there, those were shown in the original renderings. With these changes that I just ran through, the board may wish to remand this case back to the Plan Commission so that they have a chance to review the changed plans, or the board may direct staff to prepare an ordinance accordingly. And I can take any questions. We have Chairman Trupak as well, and we also have the petitioner here tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell. The petitioner care to add anything to the presentation?
Yes, yes.
Please step up and state your name.
Thank you, yes. Stan Tamalo with Iron Builders, Design Builders, representing the owners, Maya and Alex Spazoff. I would like to clarify a couple issues here that weren't addressed originally. As you're looking at this original plan here, that was presented and submitted for permit and approval. Thank you. And if you look at the lower portion now, what we're presenting, okay, we're revising back to the original scheme, okay? The only thing that's changed in this plan is that we are adding one canopy on that south end portion because we'd like to show you what that actually looks like. The Planning Commission thought that could be washed or retained and kept as original stone. These are some of the pictures that are as built that we're facing right now. Okay, so this is 15 years of wear and tear on the limestone and the paint. So we're addressing to emulate the same colors that the stone has, the limestone base, and what have you. So I think that was the only issue we had regarding the new proposal, and that's pretty much what it shows. All right, that's basically what we're asking.
Could you please speak in the microphone,
Even though
please?
we're resorting,
I'm sorry. Back to the podium. We're recording this. We're recording this, and for the audience at home is listening to this, they can't hear you if you're
I'm sorry.
walking around. You need to,
I'm sorry.
please speak in the microphone.
okay.
Thank you.
Well, so the bottom line was, the only change that we were asking for the minor was on that southeast corner where the brick was replaced with a different color to complement the same color that we're proposing.
You're saying the brick was replaced?
Yeah, we had to because we
yes.
redesigned the windows.
You replaced the brick?
Yeah, we had to replace with different color brick to emulate that color.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so that was the part that we needed, we were asking to paint. So that the biggest issue here really was that minor change of this corner, okay, of that addition, which really is the focal point of the restaurant. So that clarification of that and the assumption that we were approved with the signage and canopies, unless Mr. Trupak says otherwise, we'd like to proceed with that because it's only 5 to 6 weeks out before our grand opening. So it's really the issue of canopies and signage. And I have Mr. Simon here who represents a Triangle Signage and canopies. He's done the Topaz renovations. He's got many other professional installations that he wants to install for us, which will really enhance the color and beauty of the building, is really where we are and where we want to proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Walter, has a signage package been approved for Pella?
No, not at this time.
No. Was a package submitted?
Yes,
So that's still in progress?
correct. I think it was waiting on really the status of this hearing, if I'm not mistaken, but I think Ms. Farrell can clarify.
Yes, so as part of the permit submittal for the signage, the painting scheme and also the canopies were submitted. So that permit submittal is on hold until.
Understood.
Yes, this is reviewed.
Thank you. Okay. Any questions from the board? Let's start with Trustee Smith.
So a couple things. If you have not driven over by that location, you need to. I drove over there this evening, and in my opinion, whatever help we can offer, I think it needs to be done. The facade, the colors, it looks dysfunctional right now. It is a 15-year-old structure, I believe. You can see the brickwork and everything is weathered. It's very confusing to the eye when you see all the different colors. It's hard to figure out which part is the restaurant and which is not. So I just think for all of us here in this room, the Plan Commission, it's worthy to drive by and take a look. I would hate to be the trustee that holds up the process for your opening, because if this has to get sent back to the Plan Commission, that's gonna hold up, I believe, the awnings and everything else. So I am sympathetic to your needs over there, but, you know, I know we're trying to keep things as they used to be. You know, sometimes change is good. And I think in this situation, I think some changes would be enhancing the village center, not harming it. But again, if you haven't driven through there, I think you need to. That's my comment.
Thank you. Thank you. Trustee McCall?
I would agree with Trustee Smith. I mean, when you're doing something new, it should look all new. If you have like bits and pieces of old and new, it's very hard to make it look nice. And there are exceptions to that in the town, in the village center. So I think, in all fairness, we should give them the opportunity to make it look really nice so that it looks like one unit, which is a very happening place, which we hope it will be. So, thank you.
Trustee Snyder?
Evan, since we have, Greg, can I ask you a quick question? So I wanted to make sure I understood what was said when it was written. The Planning Commission was for the changes?
Well, what was presented to us was, what was presented when this began a couple years ago had certain changes to the front elevation, which we were fine with the entire corner changing, painting the brick there, the stone, that was fine, the canopies there, and then certainly the work on the big addition in the back. What was shown to us as a painting plan recently was painting all the brick on their portion. I'm an architect. For what that means, it's not a good idea to paint brick. It's a maintenance thing forever. The brick doesn't breathe quite as well. It's not a really good thing to do. So in terms of long-term for the center, it's not really great to paint bricks. And we thought that the reddish brick to the Lifetime Drive could stay as it is in red brick and not have to paint that portion. So the only portion we're objecting to in terms of painting is the reddish brick that's on Lifetime Drive, not painting that. The canopies we're fine with. Painting the red brick on the inside of the addition that you'll see through the glass, we're fine with. The canopy is as shown originally, we were of course fine with. We did not see, I believe, the additional canopy on Lifetime at the corner. That wasn't part of our recent submittal. We'll probably be fine with that. I can't speak for everybody, but I think that won't be a problem. My understanding is it is still a minor change to the PD, which requires going back to us. I think that's kind of the hitch on the other canopy towards back on the middle right there. So canopies will be fine. The brick as shown being painted, the additions changes to the front elevation will be fine. The painting of the brick inside the addition is going to be okay. Our only thing was don't paint the existing red brick because there's a lot of that in the whole center. It really doesn't. I think you're going to see a lot of identity, and that ties it back as much to the center as it does being all one color. So our only concern is going to be don't paint the existing red brick.
So you talked to the petitioner at the Planning Commission with regards to that?
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely against painting the entire thing. The canopies were fine. Again, that one canopy that's on Lifetime, we weren't shown recently. We're probably going to be fine with that, but I think it has to come back to us. I don't know if it has to. If it doesn't, it's not going to be a problem for us, I believe.
And the vote was unanimous?
Yeah.
Against the painting of the one section of brick only? Pretty much otherwise, everyone was for, pretty much on board?
Yes, and everything else was consistent with what was shown to us. If you look at the original elevation, what was shown to us back when, that reddish brick was going to stay the reddish brick. And we were fine with that. And at that time, they were fine with that. So that was the one change that we objected to. The sign package, my understanding is it's as allowed per code as it exists. I don't understand what the issue is with it being part of this submittal that has parts of it that may not be approved so far. But the sign wasn't even an issue for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Well, my question is to the petitioner. I, like fellow trustees, are for business, so small amounts. But if you had this discussion with the planning committee, and they said, okay, this one section, bricks don't breathe, et cetera, as Mr. Trupek said, did you have a discussion about that in open with the other planning?
Me personally, I did not have a discussion about it, that the bricks are breathing, which I'm all about natural stuff. I like natural stuff. I don't mind keeping the way things are. The issue that I saw there is that simply, as Mr. Russell said, they...
Dysfunctional.
Yes, they are, and it doesn't feel like they can be just cleaned out and it will look good, great. So that's the only issue I had. It will cost a lot to do it, and probably there is a maintenance, which is correct, and I was willing to do it. But if the commission feels still that we should keep the natural way of how it looks things, I mean, we'll just leave it like that. But it was my opinion. It doesn't look good to me.
Who went on your behalf to the planning commission? Was it the gentleman right there?
Stanley, yes.
Okay. You made all the statements.
When we changed the, I mean, it wasn't a change, but we had to accommodate for that door to be the main door, the main entrance. It simply, it was a retail store before that. So this was the best entrance, and we all agree on that. So we had to add additional brick. So they're a mismatch already. So if we paint that portion, there's still gonna be mismatch.
Thank you.
So, and same thing with the back. There is like for the patio seating, there is rolled up windows, and there is a construction that was done. I'll show you over there, I'll point it, but that construction also has a different bricks. It's a different color, so if we leave it like that, even if we paint it, you will still gonna be able to see it with own eyes that it is different. So it looks weird if you see it like that. So let me point that. So here's the first that was fixed by the main doors. This is going to be the main entrance. This is the original brick right up here, and this is the new one.
That's the one you put up.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the closest we could have gotten. So that's the one that it's being on, so it can be.
So it looks consistent.
Yes.
Okay.
But they are different color, and this is how it looks like. And then this is on the back. Also, this portion, it was a new build. We had to open for these windows here. So these are the same thing. In fact, I love this, but what do we do with this side over here?
Okay.
This is how it looks like now. And this is why Mr. Russell is saying what he said. So I think we should do something with this, but once you start going with construction, I think it's endless. And once you start doing that, if we change the color on this, then what's left? And so I guess timing is very essential. We are back on time. We're missing the summer. Everybody wants to be open. We want it to be open. So I would just ask you for a decision, and then whatever we decide to do, that's what we're gonna do.
Thank you. Trustee Bethesda, did you have any comments or questions of the petitioner? Trustee Schiappa?
So, you know, he's made an attempt to replicate the current bricks. To me, the outside of that space belongs to the building owner. So isn't the building owner responsible for the maintenance of those bricks? If they are not, if they're worn, I would think the building owner is responsible for changing those bricks to, you know, make sure that they are, you know, something that looks nice and that is working. I mean, that's my concern. I mean, if he is changing the facade of the building, I mean, that's my understanding is that he updates the inside and the outside is the building owner. I mean, does that sound?
Well, building owner owns the building, but they do have some leeway on what they can modify, and it sounds like he has permission from the building owner to modify the exterior and put in additions and such, so.
Right, but if there's a failing brick system, that's the building owner's responsibility.
Ultimately, yes.
So, and then the other question is for Chairman Chupek. So if he decides, if we come to a decision to paint the facades, the only concern is that the bricks don't breathe, or I mean, what are all the concerns with painting brick?
Well, there's two things. One is just maintenance. Once you paint it, it's painted forever. It's going to peel off eventually, and you're painting it, the life of the building.
Right.
The second thing is you're not just painting the bricks, you're painting the mortar in between all the bricks.
Yes.
And brick walls, there's a cavity behind it. There's moisture comes through.
Yes.
It leaves. Now you're kind of the paint they're using is what they prescribed as a paint made for brick, but it's not going to breathe as well as the brick does. It's not going to be terrible for the building, but it's just not going to operate the way it's supposed to. You might have a little bit more moisture that's inside. It's not going to get through the wall.
Okay.
So a little bit of concern there.
Okay, you're almost sealing it.
You are sealing in the brick in.
Okay.
Now, they had mentioned painting some of the stone piers on the front. That was fine because the stone's a little bit different than the paint.
Right.
It's still the same maintenance thing.
There's no mortar with the stone. Okay. All right, I understand now. And so for the petitioner, are you comfortable with maintaining the paint? If we do approve painting it, in 15, 20 years, you may have to repaint that facade because it does peel. It's exposed to our glorious seasons here in Chicago. So it will probably peel off, within 15, 20 years, something like that.
Of course, but we do understand that.
Okay.
And we commit to that we want to keep it
Right.
to look great even now. So
Yes.
we definitely not going to let that be different.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate you showing us the struggles that you're going through. It helps us.
Pass by and see it, we'll see the difference and we'll see that it's not consistent, that
Right.
we should do something.
Okay.
But thank you.
Thank you. Those are my comments.
Thank you. I have a few questions, sir, if you would. I have a few questions for you, please. Thank you. So, if you had to wait another month to get approval to paint the portion you want to paint of the facade, that's going to hold up your opening?
Yes, it will.
And why is that?
Because we moved our opening days. It has been we were timely affected from delivery on everything we needed, like materials and stuff.
Yes?
And because of that, we're almost building it about a year and a half. From the day we started, it's taken almost 2 years. So
Okay.
now we have, our expenses keep rising, and at the same time, everybody wants to see us open. So
Yes.
I do believe if we take another month, we're gonna miss the whole summer. So,
But if you didn't paint the facade, would that keep you from opening?
no.
So you could open, you could get back on track and open. You get your awnings and your sign package would then be taken off of hold. So the concept of painting could then still be debated further if it needed to be, but you could still open. It's not holding you up, is what I'm trying to get to.
So,
Can we comment on that, my signage?
Sure.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andres Mahon. I'm the president of Triangle Sign and Awning.
Can you please spell your last name?
Andrei, A-N-D-R-E-I. Last name's Mahon, S-M-A-H-O-N. Triangle Sign and Awning, we've been around since 1985. We develop a lot of work in the suburbs and downtown Chicago. I'm here to represent the GC and Alex, the owner. So on the painting, although it's not really my area of expertise, there will be a conflict between the signage and the canopies. It's gonna be very hard for them. So in a perfect world, they're supposed to do the painting, and then we come with the canopy and the signage, and we don't overlap. If you guys decide to further discuss and delay the painting, we'll have to proceed with the canopy and the signage. If not, they cannot open without branding. Well, they can, but it's gonna be very silly. And painting around our structure is just gonna create further more complications. The canopy structure wraps around the new proposal there on the right side. Is just gonna interfere with the painting process. So I just wanna mention that and kind of answer for Alex and you.
Thank you.
And I just want to stress something here. The approval of the signage and canopy package, it's fundamental. They are already behind what we call a deadline. We need about 8 weeks to manufacture and install, and they are 7 weeks from the grand opening. We can work around the clock and compress everything, but the more we delay in terms of, and I'm referring to the canopy structure or awning, as you want to call it, and the signage, it's fundamental for them to get an approval on that end so they can release us for production, so we can start manufacturing and meet their opening. That's my concern. And the additional canopy that's for the commissioner, the one to the right, the main need for that one is the inconsistency and the stretch of the building. That addition canopy visually, mentally is gonna help customers to kind of identify the perimeter of the restaurant. So that's for the additional canopy that we have there on the right, proposed by the glass structure. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are we
Sorry
seeing,
to
are we seeing
interrupt.
any canopies on this drawing?
On the next page, so we have a printout board, but if she's switching, I'm just gonna walk there. Hopefully my loud voice is gonna record at the other end. So there is an L canopy.
Okay, thank you. I see that.
Wraps around this corner, and this is the additional one that's proposed. The commissioner was referring to. So because the building is very inconsistent with all sorts of finishes, even with the painting, this is gonna help to wrap the entire building and highlight this one entity, one restaurant. I think it's gonna create less confusion rather than creating problems. So I was referring to this canopy next to the glass system.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. A couple of comments. This is the first that this board has heard of your request. And now you're under the gun. You've got 7 weeks before opening, and you need 8 weeks to fabricate your awnings. So these delays that have happened to date, they're not our fault. They, for whatever reason, they've happened.
I never blamed anybody, so.
Now, so I'm just saying this because you're now transferring this delay and pressure to this board, which I don't think is fair.
So, if I may say, this was already approved the last time. We are just going back to this.
What was already approved?
So, my team asked last time that we do an additional paint. I would like to apologize for that. I didn't realize that side. I thought that we are, they created a confusion. But all of this was approved, and then in this discussion, this was approved long time ago. So we had a discussion, and we were advised that the best thing would be to come back and present it, even though, because the second motion was denied.
So what? I'm confused now. The painting
I'm
was
gonna-
approved
hold on.
previously?
Hold on, I'm gonna have Director Farrell come up.
Thank you. Please explain the timeline.
She has the explanation for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. So I think what he may be referring to, so the original renderings, which were approved a couple years ago,
Yes.
showed the white corner with a wraparound canopy. It did not show painting of Lifetime Drive, however. It also did not show painting of the inside of the addition, and there was no additional canopy on Lifetime Drive. So because of that additional canopy and then the additional painting areas, that's why the minor change is before you. So I think that's perhaps what he may be referring to, is that the corner with the canopies and the painting was previously approved, but there are a couple of areas that are different from that previous approval.
So it was explicitly spelled out 2 years ago that the corner was going to be painted.
It was not explicitly called out, but it was shown as white on the renderings, and we're not sure if that meant it was to be painted or not, so.
Okay. All right, so.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Janine, if the assumption was it was painted white, petitioner thinks he can paint it, he's gonna wrap around, and there's one spot. But you said earlier that the inside was approved for painting too. And the Commissioner Trupik said that we agreed that you were gonna accept the painting on the inside also. So basically, if the petitioner said a white, I would assume it's being painted white. He goes to Planning Commission, they're gonna let them paint the inside. They're trying to wrap around one section canopy to what the gentleman just said, to try and tie it all in. And then we listen to the brick. It does breathe to a point. The petitioner's willing to take care of it. The bricks are in rough shape at times because the actual owner of the building is busy and trying to fulfill his needs, like fill the building. Personally, thinking this one, even though that, as you said, the delay is not our fault or his fault or in just a situation, it's almost consistent in a lot of different ways, so. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Trustee Smith. Wait, I'm not finishing my comments yet, so let me finish my comments. Okay. And then I'll let you, we'll go around once more time, and we still have to hear from the audience, okay? I apologize. All right, thank you. So, the argument about the bricks being 15 years old and being shabby condition and need some sort of treatment. My home is 34 years old. I built my home out of recycled brick. The bricks are probably 100 years old, and they're not shabby. So I have a tough time believing that these bricks are shabby looking, they look bad, and they need to be painted. So I'm not buying that argument. The inconsistency, as you call it, I was on the Plan Commission with Chairman Trupek when we heard many late night meetings about how this village center was going to look and how we did not want it looking monotonous and we did not want it looking all one color. We wanted inconsistencies to break up the eye so that when you looked here, you didn't see monotonous slab of one color. So we picked red, we picked gray, we picked tan. It was done that way for a reason. It was done that way on purpose. And there are other tenants that have multicolored storefronts, like you do, even though it looks different. Yes, it was done that way for a reason. It was done that way on purpose. We spent a lot of time, and the developer spent a lot of money putting in a premium brick product, premium finishes on the windows, premium finishes on the doors, and premium everywhere, because we wanted this to be an upscale center that would attract people, not a monotonous strip mall. So this, to me, would make it monotonous. It would go against what we tried to do, what we tried to strive to do back in 2005 and 2006, making this look unique and different and multiple finishes on the storefronts. Okay. I'm sorry, you had some comments, additional comments and questions?
I do, thank you, Trustee Francis. Director Farrell, I think there may be a little bit of confusion. Is the petitioner wanting to paint the whole structure one color, or is it just an area?
Originally, the proposal that went before the Plan Commission was painting the entirety of their facade. So since that denial, the petitioner has incorporated the changes where that section along Lifetime Drive is going to remain the red brick.
So is there any plan on painting any red brick for your plans right now?
No.
That's what I thought.
The inside of the addition is a red brick, but the commissioners did at their meeting say that they were generally supportive of painting inside the addition because it's painting inside of a structure. And then there's just that single story that's in between the two taller buildings there, which I believe that's currently red brick right now. Someone may correct me if I'm wrong on that.
That's correct. That'd be the only brick that'd be painted is this small section here, but that is the extent of the red brick, which would be painted under the revised plan.
Point to that again, please.
Move this up. Right here, this is Eddie Bauer, or this is actually vacant. Then this is Eddie Bauer, and then this is
Little one-story piece.
this one-story piece, call it 20 feet wide. But otherwise, the red brick will remain red brick.
Except for in the addition.
I'm sorry, exterior red brick will remain exterior red brick. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Comments?
What color is he painting that 20-foot?
It's that dove, isn't it?
It's that color reflected right there. This is the revision. So this would be reflected right there, right? Yeah, so there's the revision. But it'd be that light tan, I don't know how else to describe it, light tan.
I think the Sherwin-Williams color swatches were in the packet.
Okay.
Generally consistent with
They were
what's
all
up there
white.
to a large extent. But
Chairman Truepak, did you have an additional comment?
Yeah, thank you. If I may just correct, the small portion there between the say two buildings, that was shown as being the same color as the corner in the original plans. So it wasn't clear if it was painted or how, but as being shown the entire corner is one color with canopies, we're fine with that today because it was shown as being something that way. And again, the renderings they did show us through the addition showed that brick staying red. We talked about that back in the original approval, but now they decided, well, you can paint it white. We're fine with that. But again, to Commissioner Trustee Francis's points, back when this was first approved, we wanted some variety between the various structures. Mm-hmm. And all of these storefronts you can do what you want to for the most part within your storefront, but you tend not to do something on the rest of the base building. And again, and the one canopy back on Lifetime Drive, that wasn't shown, was not shown to us back in April. So if that had been shown back in April, we probably would have been okay with that. But my understanding again is that because it's a minor change to the PD, it has to come back to us. If it doesn't come back to us, that's fine, because we'd be supportive of that canopy, but that wasn't shown to us back in April.
Thank you.
I have,
Mr. Walter, could you zoom in on that thing that I asked you to zoom in on? Okay, there's a note, scroll up, down a little bit. Up a little bit, please, I'm sorry. There's a comment there at the bottom. It says brick main field, cloud white, 5-something-6-7, Benjamin Moore, low luster. I assume that's to meet paint. That's your paint spec. Was that comment on the original drawings that were approved 2 years ago?
So, and probably you can go back to the records and check this.
Oh, I can't do that right now.
I know, but I'll say so you can verify my words on that discussion at the time. So we had a lot of sculptures around the building, and I was asked that this would not look and would not match with what the mall represents. And then I said, okay, what we can actually do to identify ourselves. And the answer was, well, you can change the color of the brick.
So that note was on the drawings that were submitted and approved
Yes.
2 years ago?
Yes.
That
Yes.
this field would be
So
painted?
so yes, that's what we were told at the time. You can change, to identify yourself, you can change the color. Now again, I'm not against keeping the original color if we all think this would be, I just want to say, if we all agree, and I'll agree with you, whatever you say, if we all agree that it should stay the way it is, then we're going to leave it like that. Mm-hmm. But those two changes are there. This is why I said, Stanley, let's do pictures. Let's show them how it really looks like today. Mm-hmm. And I don't like it, but I'll live with it. I think that we already have two different colors on those places. On the reddish one, even if you color that, just that portion, you're still not going to get it to, because the original brick It's already been exposed to the weather conditions, to the sun, and it has slightly changed, which is natural thing, and that's the good about it. But with the construction that we did with the main entrance, we had to add those bricks. And even if we color just that portion, it's still not going to match the rest of the bricks. I can point them out again if you would like me to.
That's okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions for
I have a comment.
petitioner? Yes.
So basically, we're all a very pro-business board, and we want to support you and, make things simple for you. My only concern is, he brings up a good point, that there's brick that's aged naturally. It's not that they're bad bricks or anything, but there's aging. If you put new bricks next to it, then they're gonna look like they're from different ages. My biggest concern is when I look at it from the side, you see red brick here and you see white brick here, it doesn't look like the same building or the same restaurant. And I think if we want to give it a nice homogeneous look, then we have to do something where it all looks like one building. You can't have one building with 3 different facades. So that is my concern.
So if we were allowed, again, the time is against us, but if we were allowed to make not white like a Hampton Social, but creamy the way the natural color is, that creamy color all around the building, it would be perfect in my opinion. That would be the best look along with the blue canopy that it's coming. And I do agree with you completely that if we're changing, that would be the best change. But since already that brownish brick suffer change.
Okay,
So I do agree with you, Anita.
So what Mr. Walter has done is he's pulled up what was approved 2 years ago.
Yes.
And it shows what you want painted, but it doesn't say painting. It doesn't have that note on there that I asked about. So it does have your canopy. It's a beautiful canopy.
Looks stunning.
It'll look nice. So by painting this little one-story section in here, that's going to hold up the canopy? If it has to be painted later, or if the Plan Commission has to talk about it?
Can you repeat the question?
The single-story section.
Sorry.
The single-story section, could you point to that with the cursor, please? If that has to be painted at a later date, or that has to be talked about again at the Plan Commission, because that's what you're asking for, to paint that one section, that's going to hold up the canopy? It will not. Okay, because the Plan Commission is saying that they would be okay with painting the back of the building.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Again, we go back to the original submission back in 21, that little piece there was shown as being light color. So we were fine with that. It was not clear it was painted or what the original brick or what, but the idea that's going to be that color today, we're fine with. So I don't think that portion should hold up anything.
Okay.
The only portion of this that we object to is painting the red brick on
Right.
Lifetime.
And he's saying now that they're not going to paint the red brick. Okay. Okay. Excuse me, but I'm trying to hit a moving target here. Okay? You got one rendering here, another rendering here, and then you got a third thing you're showing me, you're pointing to, and I'm having trouble following it. I just want to get it straight so that we all understand what you want, what you're asking for. Okay? Thank you. So that's why I'm asking these questions. Thank you.
I'm sorry, so my understanding is nothing that you are willing to paint today do we object to. You're not going to paint the Lifetime red brick. Everything else that you're talking about painting, we're okay with.
We're agreed, yeah.
Okay?
We agree.
All right. Okay, any other questions from the board before I turn it over to the audience? Anybody in the audience have any questions or comments of the petitioner or about this petition?
So I would like to add something.
Please.
Trustee Francis.
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 Thank you.
So that small portion, definitely it's not holding the building, but we have to start painting the rest where it's creamy color.
Right.
That's what is going to hold.
On the backside? On the,
No, on the front side too. Now-
the columns?
What I'm trying to point
Yeah, okay.
to all of you all the time is that because of the constructions, those bricks are different. And now the plan commissioner, if he feels that there is a ways we can do that to match it in a perfect way, then I don't have knowledge of that, and this is what I was told, that we cannot accomplish that. And this would be the easiest solution for me. Just do those 2 minor touch-ups and we're good to go. But that is not what I'm told. They cannot be matched to the natural brick of outside. So but it's still going to look different, whatever we do to it.
Okay.
And with that, why we submitted like this? Because of the timing. If you are asking me and you're trying to make me happy, I would like to go with what Anita just said. And from this portion, it is deviating from that brown brick. It shows the perfect greatness of Pella, and then it shows all the image of Pella in consistency. And yes, we still do have all different colors because the office building next to us, it stays in a full shape.
Okay, very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, in summary, could we please have a summary of what the petitioner is asking for at this particular moment?
I'm gonna have Director Farrell do that, just to make sure that we're fully recanting what we're doing.
So there is a request for a minor change to the PUD for this set of plans here that was included for the board. So this would be painting the exterior facade as shown on the plans.
Show
which
us the
include-
cursor,
I'm just gonna
please.
kind of go down the line here. So it starts with that little single-story addition, moves along to that facade that's along Village Center Drive, wraps around the corner to Lifetime Drive, and then ends where you see here in the plans. That red brick remains unchanged, unpainted. As we go around to the building on Burr Ridge Parkway, only the interior of the addition is painted. For the canopies, it would be the canopies which are shown that wrap along from Village Center Drive along Lifetime Drive. And then there is one additional canopy that is on Lifetime Drive near the addition.
Is it clear to everybody what they're asking for?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 3 choices here. We can agree with the plan commission and deny this request. We can remand this back to the plan commission, or we can approve it as summarized by Ms. Farrell. Question, Trustee Snyder?
If it's done, I'll make a motion.
Any other questions?
Motion for,
To go forward from what Trustee, or
Yeah,
Janine Farrell has stated.
so we save them
forward.
time.
You are
forward.
recommending that their revised plans,
Be approved. Be approved. The POD and, yes, go forward, yes.
Yeah, it doesn't have to.
right? You need to overturn that. I'm asking the attorney, you need to overturn that.
No, the 2/3 requirement is only for a variation. This is an amendment
It's a
to a
special-
PUD.
Perfect.
Just a simple ordinance. You need 4 votes to approve an ordinance.
So the direction would be to approve an ordinance, to direct staff to prepare an ordinance approving a PUD, a minor PUD amendment based upon the petitioner's revised plans.
Yes.
And the revised plans are what Janine just summarized.
Correct.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion from Trustee
Second.
Snyder, a second from Trustee Matal. Any discussion on the motion? Or questions on the motion? None? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa?
yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Francis?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Thank you. Six. Sorry, 6.
Paint first.
Moving
then
on.
awnings.
What?
Paint first, then awnings.
Yes.
Moving on, is public comments. Comments may be made during the meeting when discussing specific items on the agenda or addressing any topics not on the agenda during this time. Public comments are accepted in any form prior to or during the meeting. Does anyone in the audience would like to make a public comment? Seeing none, thank you. Reports and communications from village officials. Let's start with Trustee Matal.
If you were there for Armed Forces Day, past Saturday, it was beautiful, the sun was shining, it was very well attended, and our Mayor Pro Temp, Guy Francis, was the Master of Ceremonies. The keynote speaker was Brigadier General Martin Jung, who shared some of his life stories with us. The Veterans Committee Chair, past Mayor Mickey Straub, celebrated his last Armed Forces Day with us. He will be moving from Burr Ridge to Tennessee in the fall. We will miss him in Burr Ridge. We all look forward to the first concert of the season on June 1st, and the band that will be playing will be sponsored by Johnny Cabs. The band's name is Elton Jeff and the Monkey Cats, and they played the Elton John cover band. Also, I wanted to tell everyone to stay tuned for our newsletter, The Oak Leaf, which will be coming out in a couple of weeks. Staff has reconfigured the newsletter, and it's very nice, it's concise, and there are nice graphics in it, so I think you will really enjoy reading it and reading about what the village has been doing with your taxpayer dollars. So thank you, and enjoy the summer.
Thank you. Any other trustees?
Trustee Francis. Just a quick comment. Knowing that Deputy Chief is in the room, it came to my attention that with the new construction, with southbound Madison being closed, we have had some vehicles thinking it's okay to go down that one-way street. And so I just asked the police department to watch that area, and if you see any folks deciding to take that risk, to please give them the appropriate ticket, the maximum ability as possible. Resident or non-resident, doesn't matter.
So to clarify, Madison Street is closed to southbound traffic.
Yep.
It is only open to northbound traffic. It is one lane, it is signaled, and yet there are individuals that are still driving southbound in the northbound only lane.
Correct.
Under the I-55 bridge.
Under the I-55 bridge, Madison Avenue, under the I-55 bridge. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Anyone else? So I just have a reminder that Monday, May 29th, next Monday is Memorial Day. Please take a few minutes from your family plans and your busy barbecues and your travel plans to remember those sacrifices that were made by our men and women in uniform, pay the ultimate sacrifice to preserve our freedoms that we have here, we're so fortunate to have here in the United States. Thank you. Also, there'll be a short ceremony, I believe, at 9 a.m.
Correct.
At the Village of Burr Ridge Veterans Memorial, a short ceremony and prayer. So if you have some time, Memorial Day, next Monday at 9 a.m., please attend that short ceremony. And I want to thank everybody for their participation in the Armed Forces Day celebration on Saturday. It was well attended. The keynote speaker was Brigadier General Marty Young. Excellent stories, and we were glad to see the turnout. I was impressed by the job that our Special Events Coordinator Claire Nass did, and also Public Works, wonderful job that they did in setting up and taking down and directing, providing assistance and directing the activities. It was a great turnout, and we appreciate all the wonderful help. Anything else? Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.